Greetings, everyone. Umby here, and we're back again to report in on week 7 of the Georgia VGC Draft League, like usual. Uh, you'll have to bear with me. The proceedings for this week were a little bit weird. We'll get into that as we get close to discussing the leaderboard, but just to kind of give you a little bit of insight, you see the results on your screen. Did well in predictions this week, but that's kind of expected with the way the rank has been panned out. But one thing to understand about this week's matchups, as we discussed last time, the middle of the pack, ranks 3 through right around about 8, are all kind of fighting for the remaining playoff slots. We have Mocha and Papa Shuckle locked in at numbers 1 and 2, respectively. So everywhere else is just kind of a scramble to get in. So a lot of these matches are very key to determining who makes it into playoffs. We're gonna start off by talking about Sanaito's match versus Esquire because that was a very crucial one for them and led off the week with it. So Sanaito, previously sitting at the number 1 spot, took a heavy loss, 0-2 loss in the previous week, and then ran into another 0-2 loss this week versus Esquire, surprisingly. They opted in for a double electric strategy, trying to abuse discharge into Electivire's motor drive in hopes of trying to overwhelm Esquire's team. Even if Raikou steps in, the Electivire is going to have Earthquake or Max Quake to deal with it. Now, the problem is the Aromatisse was too bulky to really deal with and then supported the team well once it set up Trick Room. Supported the Kingdra, as a matter of fact, through the use of fake tears. Kingdra, Esquire typically doesn't use it under Swift Swim, so it just allowed it to really chip in and cripple Sanaito's team. Even when Electivire was out, as soon as Trick Room went up, started spamming Max Wormwinds and just gutting Electivire's attack power. Now, failing that, what was supposed to happen? Looks like they slotted in Glaceon to take advantage of the Trick Room. Also, not a bad check into Kingdra. It's got use of Freeze Dry to shut it down. But if you recall, Esquire's star so far has been Bisharp, which just obliterates the Glaceon. So, a tough loss for Sanaito, especially this close to playoffs, because now he has to wait for the results, or he already has to wait for the results of some other matches, about 3 or 4 contenders that could steal that slot for them. And we move down to one of them, Professor Walnut, who has an amazing last few weeks. That's 3 straight wins to end out his season. The last one is up against Eeveenescence. So he secures a slot in the playoffs. Now, this one was kind of par for the course. Eeveenescence is running their usual game plan. They may start off with a Gothitelle or a Suicune to try and set up for the remainder of the team, but eventually they're going to try and move in that Thunderous, Defiant version, max it, and try and get a snowball rolling. Now, the only thing is, if you can't do that, there's still not a lot of power coming in behind that to kind of clean up. And when you have a Registeel that Professor Walnut has on the back end, that makes cleaning up the end game a lot tougher. So Walnut still favoring the Porygon Z and Ribombee combination. It's been working out really well for them. Even slotting in Togetic over Togetic over Ribombee has still been something very fruitful for him, as long as he can position and support the Porygon Z, especially with the lack of any type of resistance to its moveset. So it contested the Thunderous early game, max for max, and did more damage overall than Eeveenescence could fire back into it. Now, even moving into the late game of Registeel's position, Eeveenescence did pick up a couple of burns in both games. The unfortunate part is Professor Walnut had the foresight to bring Facade into this match, so those burns actually helped it out to do damage after it already beefed up its defense with Iron Defense. So great job to Professor Walnut. Again, just amazing last 3 weeks after having a rough start to the season to secure a slot in playoffs. Now this next match is inconsequential, but shout outs to Bruneaux really quickly. Each week, I believe they brought something very different from the previous week, always trying to adjust for each matchup and kind of mix the opponent up. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to overcome our number one seed, Mocha, who really just relied on the Metagross and Grimmsnarl from the start of the games to just do a clean sweep into Bruneaux. It was very hard to stop the setup. The team took way too much damage, and even on the back end, there were contingency plans. You can see Porygon 2 there to take advantage of the Trick Room if Bruneaux ever set it up. And if Blastoise comes along for the ride, Credillia is also part of the plan, also taking advantage of Trick Room. So um, it's harsh to say, but this was kind of an expected result. It's very tough for Bruno's team to get past all the bulk and power that Mocha's team has. Now, this is one of the peculiar things that I was talking about. Papi Cantan versus Luminary was supposed to be a match. Unfortunately, schedules didn't align, and at the very last minute, we had a no-show from Luminary to face off against Cantan. The reason this is so significant, this was the last match we were waiting for. Essentially put it, Sanaito was at risk of losing their playoff slot, and it relied on Luminary winning this match versus Cantan. With Luminary not being present, Cantan takes the win and essentially knocked Sanaito into the 7th seed instead of any of the top 6 seeds. Again, more on that in a minute. Just get through these matchups first, though. Bazuk versus Papa Shuckle. Now, this was a consequential match for Bazuk. If you recall from last week, they needed to pick up a 2-0 in this match in order to have a shot into the playoffs. Now, while they prevailed over Papa Shuckle, unfortunately, it was a 2-1 victory. The game differential based off of that isn't enough to propel them into a playoff slot. So unfortunately, this puts them out of contention. But still a good match for them, especially taking out the number 2 seed so far. Papa Shuckle is trying to use Galarian Darmanitan again, along with Talonflame. They've got a lot of cushion to kind of experiment and keep some of their better strategies hidden, so I don't blame them for that one. But actually looked pretty decent. Well, the Galarian Darmanitan looks pretty decent into Bazuk's team, especially when you have the threat of their Dragonite and the Whimsicott. It also threatens that at the same time. Don't think it was kind of played to the strength of that, though, where they want to reserve the Darmanitan for the Dragonite matchup specifically. So while Bazuk was able to reposition the Dragonite in the later stages of the game, Papa Shuckle took the status effect from Arcanine. It's running a support set this time, not the usual Justified that we see. Which crippled the Darmanitan, took it out early, say for game 2. And Bazuk was just able to run away with the games that they did win, thanks to those efforts. So good job for Bazuk. Just barely missed the mark, but hey, I enjoyed the game, so thanks for participating. Now, Patillac versus Strider. There's not too much to say with this one. We didn't get a video for this, so you're not going to be able to check it out on the VGC channel. The rest of them you should be able to, but I said this last week as well. The expectation here is because of the presence of Latios, the match could look almost exactly like Papi Cantan versus Strider when they used Latios to great effect to sweep Strider's team as well. Now, it looks like they brought Obstagoon as a way to target one of Latios' weakness. I'm not sure how well they were able to position that or get a chance to. Either way, it's still really tough because now you have support from the Comfey, which could just either Draining Kiss the Obstagoon, or if we're maxing Latios, Draining Kiss Weakness Policy, or Floral Healing. Take your pick. Triad is just a really good ability to help support the Latios in this case, and I don't really see Strider's team doing too much damage into the Latios, outside of maybe abusing solar-powered max airstreams from Charizard, perhaps with the use of Ally Switch or Thunder Wave from the Rotom. Not certain. It'd be nice if we could have gotten a view into that match, but that's another 2-0 this week, going in Patillac's favor. But hey, both have been in the playoffs, so maybe they'll be able to see each other again. All right, now I know that was short. Again, we had a no-show for one of our matchups, so there wasn't too much to say about uh, the game so far. With the rankings, though, there's not a ton of movement from the previous rankings, but let's talk about the peculiar thing that I mentioned earlier. So, like I said, with the way the games that went, there were several wins that put Professor Walnut, Papi Cantan, and Patillac above Sanaito. So a heavy fall from that top slot from the previous weeks. And with the win over Luminary, Cantan pushed Sanaito out of a top 6 placing. The unfortunate part is, due to scheduling and life events, Cantan has to drop out for the remainder of the competition and can't commit to any playoff games. As a result, the next seed up is Sanaito, moving into the 6th slot. So congratulations to all our top placements. Again, shout outs to everyone for participating into this. It's been, it's not my tournament, but it's been really fun to watch, break down. It gives me something to do every week, and I appreciate anyone tuning in, kind of listen to me ramble on. Now, that said, we are going to move into the playoff stage. Not going to go over it in this video. There are a number of things that I want to make sure of. You might see some content coming, so keep your eyes peeled out for that. But I'll keep you updated in any case. For this week, though, that's all from me. Stay tuned for what we're going to do with the upcoming playoffs. And also, I got a new microphone. I've been making some adjustments to that. Let me know how I sound. I would very much appreciate it, as well as any feedback on any of the content that you see here. But either way, we'll be back next time, and I'll let you know what's going on. For now, take care, though. Peace.